Unspoken plans that felt like truth drew our future before we knew. How fragile promises can be when timing breaks what love can't keep. I learned your habits, not your fears. Learned your laughter, not your years. We lived inside the almost sound, so close to solid, never found. I mistook comfort for a sign that love would wait if we had time. We almost met forever, but almost doesn't stay. We almost held tomorrow, then watched it slip away. You said not now, I heard someday, and built my heart on what you couldn't say. We almost meant forever, but almost broke us anyway. We loved in pauses, not in vows, and maybe then not here and now. I gave you space, you gave me doubt. We circled love without stopping out. I stayed polite with all your doubt, called it patience, not running out. But love should feel like solid ground, not something fading without a sound. I waited for your certainty while you waited less for me. We almost met forever, but never chose the fight. We almost crossed the distance, but left it overnight. You kept the door half open wide. I stood there hoping you'd decide. We almost meant forever, but fear arrived before we tried. There's a quiet kind of goodbye when no one leaves but no one tries. No broken words, no final scene. Just love that wasn't brave enough to be. We almost meant forever, and that's what hurts the most. Not what we lost, but what we were. So close to holding close. I won't rewrite what wasn't true, or beg a dream to follow through. We almost meant forever, but now I mean letting go of you. Some loves don't end in flame or fire. They fade where courage should have been higher. You left without slamming doors. No final words, no reason why. Your jacket still by the bedroom floor, like you'd be back before goodbye. I memorized the way you left, by how the room forgot your sound. Even the clock held its own breath when it realized you weren't around. I told myself you just needed time, but time never promised you were mine. I kept the light you turned off, stayed awake in case you came home lost. I learned the dark by heart, so you wouldn't have to find the switch. You moved on without a thought, left me loving what you forgot. I kept the light you turned off, like love was something I could fix. Your name still echoes in my phone, unread messages, unsent truth. I made excuses on my own for all the things you didn't do. I dressed the silence up as hope, cold waiting something brave. But every night I held a glow for a shadow that never stayed. I stayed loyal to what we were. You stayed silent, and that hurt worse. I kept the light you turned off, believed in you when you walked off. I made a home inside the dark, so you wouldn't feel alone. You found peace somewhere else, while I held the night by myself. I kept the light you turned off, until even hope went cold. Maybe love shouldn't beg to stay, or bleed just to be seen. Maybe letting go is learning that choosing me isn't selfish, it's clean. I kept the light you turned off, but I won't wait here anymore. I see now what it cost to love someone who closed the door. If you ever wonder why the room no longer knows your name, I turned the light off for myself and finally walked away. The dark doesn't scare me now. I'm not waiting anymore. We used to breathe the same small air. Now even silence feels prepared. Your name still waits inside my phone, but I've learned how to sleep alone. Nothing broke, nothing burned, just too many things unlearned. We didn't crash, we slowly slid into a life we never lived. There's a space between what we were and what we couldn't And that's the night we quietly died. There's a space between what we were and what we couldn't become. Not a promise, not a letter, just a feeling undone. I still see you in reflections, in the places we roam. There's a space between what we were, and I'm learning to move on. If love is more than holding tight, why did we let it lose its voice? I'd rather hear you say goodbye than watch us fade by choice. There's a space between what we were, where my heart learned to bend. Not a failure, not a mistake, just a story that ends. I won't beg it to return now. I won't chase what's gone now. There's a space between what we were, and I'm finally letting go of us. Some loves don't leave with a sound, they just turn into ground. You walk on without knowing what you found. I stayed when leaving made more sense. Watch the clock ignore my prayers. Your silence learned my name before I learned how not to care. Every promise lost its tone, every kiss felt slightly gone. I smiled just to keep you near, while disappearing year by year. I let go in slow motion, frame by frame I fell apart, still loving you out of habit, still breaking my own heart. I didn't leave, I faded, and I words you never quote. I let go in slow motion long before you noticed. Your jacket's still behind the door, like you might need it once more. I stopped asking where you'd been, started guessing how this ends. I learned to miss you quietly, so you wouldn't feel the change. You were already halfway gone. I just stayed to take the blame. I let go in slow motion, held on longer than I should, still hoping you'd turn around, even when I knew you wouldn't. I didn't scream, I softened till I felt like a ghost. I let go in slow motion and carried it alone. If love is meant to save us, why did it cost me? I begged for something honest. You gave me almost free. I let go in slow motion. Now I see myself again. Not a villain, not a victim, just a heart that tried till the end. I don't hate you, I outgrew the way that you imposed. I let go in slow motion, and that's how I survived you. Some endings don't explode, they gently loosen their hold, and one day you breathe without them and call it closure. The door didn't slam, it just stayed still, like it wasn't sure who left. Your name lives in the corners. I try my best to forget. I don't look for you in faces or ask the night your name, but when the room goes quiet, my chest remembers the pain. My heart still knows where you went, even when I don't ask. It feels the weight of your leaving, like a shadow I don't chase back. I moved on with my breathing, learned to smile again, but my heart still knows where you went. I packed away the memories, like letters never sent. I told heart still knows where you went, but it knows where I am too. I didn't lose myself loving you, I just learned what love can do. I don't need answers or endings, I don't need to pretend. My heart still knows where you went, and it's okay in the end. Some loves don't come back, they just stay understood. And my heart remembers you in the quiet way it should. I stayed when the signs were clear, read between what you wouldn't say. You were halfway out the door, I was finding reasons you might stay. Every warning felt like doubt, every doubt I turned to hope. I held the pieces of your heart like they were mine to hold. You were slowly letting go, I was loving you more. I loved you past the point of return, past the lesson I should have learned. I crossed every line I swore I wouldn't, just to keep us from the burn. You stepped back without a word, I stayed until it hurt. I loved you past the point of return and lost myself first. I memorized your fading touch like it might come back again. You called it space, I called it trust, but we were standing at the end. Your silence felt rehearsed, mine was breaking underneath. You stopped choosing what we were, I stopped choosing me. I thought love meant staying strong, even when it stayed too long. I loved you past the point of return, past the truth I couldn't face. I kept rebuilding what was gone while you were leaving trace by trace. You never asked me to remain, I just refused to turn. I loved you past the point of return, and that's what made it burn. Maybe love is brave, but not when it erases you. Maybe holding on isn't always proof. I loved you past the point of return, but I won't love that way again. Not where I disappear just to make somebody stay. You were a chapter, not my end, a fire I survived. I loved you past the point of return. Now I'm finally on my side. used to speak in future tense like nothing could divide. Your words were warm as summer air, I wore them like my pride. But seasons change without a storm, no warning in your tone. The plans we drew in steady lines were fading on their own. I kept replaying everything, trying to find the bend. The moment faith turned fragile and truth began to thin. Tell me where your promises went silent, where the vows lost all their sound. They didn't break in anger, they just slowly fell to ground. You swore we'd stand forever, but through all that never came. Tell me where your promises went silent, and who forgot my name. I still remember how you said we'll never let this go, but never feels so different when it's whispered soft and low. I held on to the echoes of what we used to be. You were busy building distance, I was building memories. I thought love would stay louder than doubt inside your chest, but silence grows much stronger when it's left unaddressed. Tell me where your promises went silent, where the fire lost its spark. You didn't have to leave me, you just dimmed the dark. I trusted what you told me more than what I felt. Tell me where your promises went silent, when they stopped meaning themselves. Maybe words are easy when love is new and bright. Maybe truth gets quieter when it's harder to fight. I know where your promises went silent, they faded with your will. They didn't die in chaos, they just learned to stand still. I won't carry empty echoes or beg them to remain. I know where your promises went silent, and I won't go there again. Some vows don't shatter, they disappear, and you only notice when they're no longer here. room still held your laughter, like a picture on the wall. But lately every promise felt smaller than before. You stopped asking how I was, stopped reaching for my hand, and I kept filling silence with reasons I'd pretend. I thought love meant patience through every changing tide, so I stayed a little longer, even when you stepped aside. I stayed after you stopped trying, after hope began to fade, after every quiet moment showed the distance that you made. I kept holding up the fire while you watched it slowly die. Stayed after you stopped trying, long before I said goodbye. I memorized your absence like a shadow in the room. Every maybe that you whispered turned tomorrow into gloom. You called it growing distant, I called it losing you. But loving someone lonely was all I knew to do. I believed in forever, more than what I could see. But forever doesn't happen when it's only carried by me. I stayed after you stopped trying, after effort disappeared, after every empty promise became something I feared. I kept writing us a future, you erased it line by line. I stayed after you stopped trying and told myself we'd be fine. Love shouldn't feel like standing all alone, building a home for someone already gone. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I won't stay anymore. deserve a love that reaches, not a half-closed door. Now I'm walking through the silence with a stronger kind of grace. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I finally left that place. Sometimes leaving is the bravest thing you do. When you realize love stopped fighting for you. The sunlight fell across your face, but your eyes were somewhere else, a distant place. I whispered secrets you no longer heard. Our quiet room swallowed every word. I tried to hold on, but you slipped like rain, a gentle touch I couldn't retain. The day I felt you drift away, everything I knew just went astray. Every heartbeat, every sigh left me wondering why we said goodbye. I still see your shadow in the hall, empty echoes bouncing off the walls. I reach for moments that can't return. In the silence, my own heart burns. I held your laughter close to mine, but some love is never meant to shine. The day I felt you drift away, everything I knew just went astray. Every heartbeat, every sigh left me wondering why we said goodbye. Maybe someday, somewhere we'll find a love that lingers gentle and kind. But for now I breathe through the pain, learning to love myself again. The day I felt you drift away, everything I knew just went astray. Every heartbeat, every sigh left me wondering why we said goodbye. The day I felt you drift away, I watched your eyes drift to someone new, while I held the pieces that belonged to you. Every promise that we once believed faded away, leaving me deceived. I tried to keep a fire that you let die, whispered my love into the silent sky. Set free, I carried our dreams through endless nights, even when they faded out of sight. I held on to what you let go, clutching memories that only I know. Every heartbeat, every tear kept the love that disappeared. Maybe someday I let it all fall, release the weight, answer the call. But for now, I keep it inside, a quiet love I cannot hide. I held on to what you let go, clutching memories that only I know. Every heartbeat, every tear kept the love that disappeared. I held on to what you let go, and slowly I began to grow. Slowly I began to grow. I held on to what you let go. You held me softly when the lights were low, only when the world had no need to know. Your whispers lived where shadows stayed, a hidden truth you never let me name. I learned to breathe in all your half-kept dreams and hold hoped one day you'd choose to be seen. But love can't bloom where no one sees it grow. And I was waiting for a heart you couldn't show. You left me only in the quiet, where no one else could hear your truth. You kept me somewhere safe and silent, but silence never felt like proof. I needed more than stolen moments, more than nights you wouldn't own. You loved me only in the quiet and left me loud and beat alone. I traced the outlines of your secret fears, the parts you hid behind unspoken tears. You let me in, but only halfway through, enough to feel you, never enough to choose. And I kept hoping we would find our light, but you stayed folded in the safety of the night. And every promise faded before it reached your lips, a love you held too loosely in your fingertips. You loved me only in the quiet, where no one else could hear your truth. You kept me somewhere safe and silent, but silence never felt like proof. I needed more than stolen moments, more than nights you wouldn't own. You loved me only in the quiet and left me loud and beat alone. Maybe you were scared of who we could become. Maybe I was scared of living half loved. But hearts were made for hidden rooms, and I've grown trying to fit inside yours too. You loved me only in the quiet, but I'm learning how to hear my voice, finding strength in the ones who see me, not the ones afraid to make a choice. I'm leaving all the whispered shadows and the love you never let unfold. You loved me only in the quiet, but I need more than being half told. So I step into the light, where love won't need the night. We sat on opposite ends of the same worn couch, your fingers tracing circles where mine used to touch. The TV flickered blue, but neither of us watched, just counting the seconds before one of us would flinch. I swallowed the words like broken glass at night. You looked away, pretending everything was fine. We built this perfect silence, wall by wall. Now I'm screaming inside, where you'll never hear the fall. What we never had, the courage to say, still lives between us every single day. I need you to stay. I'm scared that you'll go. I love you more than you'll ever know. We let the truth die in the spaces we made. What we never had the courage to say. Your suitcase weighted open like an accusation. I folded your favorite shirt with hesitation. We spoke in groceries, weather, polite good nights, while the real conversation burned holes in the lights. I almost reached for your hand at the door, almost begged you not to become a memory anymore. But pride is a crueler lover than loneliness ever was. So I smiled like it didn't matter, because what we never had, the courage to say, haunts every sunrise, every empty space. Don't walk away, I'm breaking into. I would have fought forever just to stay with you. We traded forever for a dignified charade. What we never had the courage to say. If time gave me 30 seconds to run back to that night, I'd crash through the door, no pride left to fight. I'd scream every line I rehearsed in my head, while you stood there stunned, finally knowing instead. The clocks don't bargain and hearts don't rewind, so I'm left with the echo of words left behind. What we never had, the courage to say, still echoes louder the longer you're away. I'm sorry I froze, please come back to me. You were always the only place that I felt free. We lost what was real in the fear we obeyed. What we never had the courage to say. And if you ever wonder why I still look away, it's because those unsaid words are the only place you stayed. You text me good morning, then disappear by noon. Left me reading old messages under the same moon. Your arms around me felt like a temporary release, warm until the moment you decided to release. I kept collecting pieces you never meant to give. Told myself half a heart was still a way to live, but every almost touch left bruises I couldn't name. You gave me just enough to keep me in the game. You loved me in half measures, never all the way. A whisper of forever that faded by the day. You held me like a secret you weren't ready to claim. Left me starving for the fire you only gave a flame. Half measures, half measures, and I still stayed. You'd say I miss you in the middle of the night, then wake up acting like it never saw the light. I learned the shape of your maybe, wore it like a crown, while you kept one foot steady on the way out of town. I painted full futures on your unfinished lines, drank your someday promises like expensive wine. But the glass was always half empty when you turned around, and I drowned in the silence of the love you never found. You loved me in half measures, never deep enough. Offered me a lifeline, then called it just a bluff. You kissed me like a habit you could easily break, left echoes of devotion that were always half awake. Half measures, half measures, and I still ached. I wonder if you ever love someone completely, or if partial is the only version you know how to be. I gave you every fraction, every trembling part. You took the light and left me holding just the dark. I deserve the whole sky, not a borrowed star. You loved me in half measures, but I loved you complete. Poured my entire ocean at your hesitant feet. Now I'm learning how to walk away from what was never mine, healing from a love that only showed up half the time. No more half measures, no more half measures. I'm finally mine. You loved me in half measures, but I won't love that way again. tongue again. Every fear I swallowed felt like saving us from pain. Your breathing next to mine was the only sound I heard. I told myself that quiet love would never need a word. I built a wall of stillness, thick and soft and kind. Thought if nothing ever broke, nothing ever died. I wore that every comfort like a blanket made of stone, never seeing how the silence carved us both alone. I thought silence meant safe, like a harbor in the storm, but it was just a slow blade cutting every thread we'd worn. All the ammo case I hid behind my smile became the very reasons we stopped burning for a while. I thought silence meant safe, now the quiet is a grave. You'd ask if I was happy, I'd answer with a nod, while inside me every unsaid storm began to flood. We danced around the edges of the things we couldn't face, pretending calm was courage in its most elegant grace. I watched the distance widen in the pauses we allowed. Every night I chose restraint instead of reaching out. I believed the less I spoke, the less that I could lose, until the love we guarded turned into something we outgrew. I thought silence meant safe, like a promise sealed in glass, but it cracked beneath the weight of everything we never asked. All the nights I let the dark speak louder than my heart became the final chapter where we slowly fell apart. I thought silence meant safe. God, how wrong I was. Now I understand that safety never lives in fear, that love requires voices even when the words feel near. I traded honest thunder for a whisper made of dust, and lost the only person who could ever earn my trust. If I could go back to that bed, I'd scream until it shook. Instead I'm left with echoes of the words I never took. I thought silence meant safe, but it was the thief in disguise, stealing every future from behind my quiet eyes. I'm learning now that courage is the only thing that saves, the kind of love that doesn't die inside a silent grave. No more hiding, no more pretending I'm alright. I thought silence meant safe, but it cost me my life. I thought silence meant safe, now the silence is all I have. and it sounds just like but that. The mornings got colder, though the calendar said spring. Your laugh arrived later and left on quieter wings. We passed the same hallway like ships in the night, still saying I'm fine, while the distance grew wide. I felt the shift in the way you folded the clothes, a little less careful, a little less close. We never named the crack that was forming below, just kept walking forward, pretending we didn't know. We lost each other softly, like rain on a window pane. No thunder, no screaming, just a slow fading stain. You became my outline I could no longer trace. I became the echo of a once familiar face. We lost each other softly, without a trace. The photos stayed up, but the stories went dark. Your favorite sweater now hangs cold in the dark. We stopped reaching across the table at night. The silence felt normal, almost polite. I kept telling myself it was only a phase, that gentle good nights could still carry the flame. But every small step back was a step we both chose, until the love we once carried quietly froze. We lost each other softly, like petals leaving the rose. No violence, no ending, just a gradual close. The future we whispered became a forgotten line. We turned into people who once felt like mine. We lost each other softly, one breath at a time. If I could rewind to the first day the warmth slipped away, I'd pull you back gently and beg you to stay. But love doesn't shout when it starts to depart. It simply stops knocking at the door of your heart. Now I carry the weight of the things we let die in the softest of ways, under the softest of skies. We lost each other softly, but the lesson burns bright. I'll never again love in half-hearted light. I'll speak when it matters, I'll hold when it's real. No more quiet drifting, no more silent appeal. We lost each other softly, but I found how to heal. We lost each other softly, like a song that ends too soon. The softest kind of forever that ended in one afternoon. I kept our side of the bed warm long after you left. Saved your favorite mug, though the coffee went cold and unsaid. I answered the door when no one was ringing the bell, still watering flowers in a garden you'd already farewell. I showed up for the memories you decided to leave behind. Carry both our shadows when yours started to decline. I whispered I'm here to the silence that answered back, while you were already turning the page we never closed. I was still there when you weren't, holding the pieces of a love you had already burned, waiting in the doorway with arms open wide while you walked away without turning to say goodbye. I was still there when you weren't, loving alone in the space that you left burned. I replayed every voicemail like it could bring you home. Kept the lights on low in case you decided to come. I defended your name when the world started to talk, even as your absence wrote its name on every clock. I fought for the version of us that only I could see. Believed in the promises, you stopped believing in me. I stood in the fire while you stepped out of the flame, still calling your name like it wasn't already changed. I was still there when you weren't, choose me. I choose to move on. I was still there when you weren't. Now the only one left is me. We share the same roof, the same quiet dinner table, but your eyes don't land on me the way they used to be able. I laugh at your jokes like I'm scared they might end, while the space between us grows wider with every pretend. I reach for your hand and it slips like smoke in the air. You say I'm right here, but it's a version I no longer compare. We're breathing the same air, sleeping side by side, yet I've never felt farther from the warmth we once called us and mine. Love shouldn't feel this lonely, like I'm talking to a stranger who's wearing your face. Love shouldn't leave me aching for the smallest trace of the person who once looked at me and stayed. Love shouldn't feel this lonely. When you're still in the same room, still saying my name, we plan for tomorrow like nothing has changed, but the silence at night screams everything's rearranged. I trace the lines on your back like a map I once knew. Now it leads to a place that no longer includes me and you. I keep telling myself this is just a season we'll weather, that tomorrow you'll see me, then we'll find each other. But every I love you lands lighter than before, and I'm left wondering what we're even fighting for. Love shouldn't feel this lonely, like dancing alone in the middle of our song. Love shouldn't turn the lights down when nothing feels wrong. I'm right here beside you, still holding on tight. Love shouldn't feel this lonely in the middle of the night. Maybe love isn't supposed to feel like waiting in the rain, hoping the person you chose will remember your name. I deserve someone who chooses me loud and complete, not this half-hearted echo of a love running on empty streets. I'm tired of being lonely with you right next to me. It's time I learned what real closeness is supposed watched you pack your things under the kitchen light. Folded every shirt like I was helping you take flight. You waited for the tears, for the words to start a war. But I just stood there smiling at the open door. My throat held every stay like a secret I would keep. My hands stayed by my side so they wouldn't reach. I swallowed all the begging, every desperate plea, so you could leave, believing you were truly free. I let you go without a sound. No screaming, no fighting, just my heart hid in the ground. I gave you the softest exit, the kindest kind of end, even though inside me something broke that won't mend. I let you go without a sound, so you wouldn't have to carry my pain around. You said I'm sorry, like you needed my reply. I nodded like it didn't feel like saying goodbye. The taxi waited, patient in the pouring rain, while I memorized your silhouette walking away. I could have cried, I could have begged you not to leave, I could have made it harder so you'd never feel relieved. But love sometimes means silence when the as you left. Coffee got cold on the counter again. Your keys still hung where they always had been. We move like two ghosts in rooms we once filled with laughter that died when the silence got real. I kept watering plants that had already died. Told myself one more season, one more try. I fixed every crack in the walls we had built, while the foundation beneath us had already wilted. I stayed too long where love had left, clinging to echoes of what we once had, sleeping beside strangers who wore your face, waiting for warmth in an empty embrace. I stayed too long where love had left, hoping the ashes would somehow catch flame again. We still said good morning and how was your day, but the words felt borrowed and drifted away. I laughed at your stories I no longer knew, pretending the distance wasn't tearing me through. I counted the nights by the space in the bed, traced every promise that you never kept. I held on to reasons that no longer made sense, while my heart kept paying a long overdue rent. I stayed too long where love had left, collecting the pieces of what we once were, kissing a memory that no longer burned, learning the hardest truth I never learned. I stayed too long where love had left, and I'm finally seeing what I should have left. Now the mirror shows someone I barely recognize, eyes full of questions and quiet goodbyes. I gave all my seasons to a winter that stayed, loved you in places where love had decayed. It's time I forgave the girl who held on, for believing in something already gone. I stayed too long where love had left, but today I'm walking through that open door, taking the lessons from the pain that for something better. We met when the sky was undecided, halfway between the sun and rain. You were a chapter I wasn't ready, but somehow I read every page. We laughed like time was generous, like it would wait for us to grow. But love doesn't ask for readiness, it only asks to show. I felt it bloom before its time, a flower fighting the wrong climate. We loved out of season when hearts were in sync. You gave me reasons, but never enough to keep. We tried to make summer stay in the middle of falling days. We loved out of season and paid for it in the end. You needed space, I needed roots. We stood on different sides of truth. I wanted now, you wanted someday, but someday never chose to stay. I watched you drift with changing light, while I was holding on to spring. We weren't wrong, just misaligned, wanting different things. I still wonder who we'd be if time had learned to wait for me. We loved out of season when hearts weren't in sync. You gave me reasons, but never enough to keep. We tried to make summer stay in the middle of falling days. We loved out of season and paid for it in the end. Maybe love needs the right weather, not just two hearts holding on. Maybe timing is what measures if a fire stays or it's gone. We moved out of season, but I don't regret the pain. Some loves are only meant to teach us what we're not meant to claim. I'll carry the warmth you gave, even as the leaves all change. We loved out of season, and I still feel it when it rains. Not every love is meant to last. Some just pass through. the sunlight burned, but your shadow never returned. I whispered hopes into the air, hoping you'd hear them anywhere. Coffee cooled on the edge of the sink, I caught your scent, then let it sink. The day moved on, but I remained, waiting for a love that never stayed. Every step I took without your hand, I felt like walking on unsteady sand. You didn't stay for my tomorrow, left me with memories and borrowed sorrow. Every dream I built for two fell apart when I still loved you. The stars rose high while you were gone, and I faced the night all alone. You didn't stay for my tomorrow, but I'll find light beyond the sorrow. I wore your jacket just to breathe, the warmth that gave a fleeting reprieve. Your laugh still lingers in my mind, a melody I can't rewind. I trace the moments that slipped away, held on to words I couldn't say. But even love that's left behind can teach your heart how to unwind. I learned to hold the pieces you missed, to stand again in your absence. I exist. You didn't stay for my tomorrow, left me with memories and borrowed sorrow. Every dream I built for two fell apart when I still loved you. The stars rose high while you were gone, and I faced the night all alone. You didn't stay for my tomorrow, but I'll find light beyond the sorrow. Maybe some hearts are not meant to stay. Maybe love just drifts away. Yet in the silence of this night, I find my own strength, I find my light. You didn't stay for my tomorrow, but I am learning to let go of the sorrow. Every tear that fell in vain became a lesson from the ride. The night is long, but I am free. I'll write a future just for me. You didn't stay for my tomorrow, and I will shine beyond the sorrow. I close the door, the sunlight warms, and I rebuild my quiet stores. talked to you in paragraphs, you answered me in signs. I kept 1,000 feelings, you kept crossing lines. I watched your eyes grow distant, still called it just a phase. I stayed and stitched the silence, you slowly walked away. I thought love meant waiting, even when it hurts. Didn't know my honesty would make your world reverse. This is what my heart felt when yours went quiet on me. I bled in every sentence while you chose not to speak. I loved you out loud, you loved me discreet. This is what my heart spilled when yours went quiet on me. I read between your pauses like they were written truths. I blame myself for questions you never wanted to choose. Every unfound you whispered was a door you closed. I was holding all the weight of a love you let go. You didn't break me loudly, you faded soft and slow. I lost you in the quiet before I even knew. This is what my heart felt when yours went quiet on me. I cried in full colors, you lived in grayscale dreams. I reached for your shadow, you slipped out of reach. This is what my heart spilled when yours went quiet on me. Maybe some hearts love deeper, maybe some hearts hide, but silence is still leaving, even if no one cries. I won't beg for echoes from a voice that chose to fade. I'm done pouring my soul into love that won't stay. This is what my heart spilled, but I'm cleaning it up now. I won't apologize for loving too loud. If your quiet was freedom, and my pain was the cost, but I found my voice again in everything I lost. Next time my heart speaks, it won't speak alone. The room still holds your shadow, like it never learned to fade. Your coffee cup remembers every morning that we played. The city sleeps without you, but I stay wide awake, counting all the moments I forgot to say. They say time is but it skips a few stars. Every night I look upward, and there you are. The moon still knows your name, whispers it through silver light, while I pretend I'm stronger than these lonely nights. The world keeps moving on, but I stay the same. The moon still knows your name. Your laugh lives in the hallway of a house I don't go back. I packed up all the memories, still left a piece unpacked. I've learned how not to miss you in the daylight's frame, but the dark keeps asking why I'm still the one in pain. I don't cry like I used to, I don't call anymore, but my heart still listens for footsteps at the door. The moon still knows your name, writes it softly in the sky. Every star's a reminder of a past goodbye. I tell myself I'm fine, but the truth remains. The moon still knows your name. Maybe love doesn't vanish, maybe it just hides in the quiet between heartbeats, in the pull of the tide. If you ever look upward when the night feels strange, know there's something above us that still says your name. The moon still knows your name, but I'm learning mine again. I won't erase the story, just won't live it in my head. If loving you was a season, I survived the rain. The moon still knows your name, but I don't need the pain. Tonight I let the moon remember, so I don't have to. The room feels wider than it should, like it's missing something good. Every chair knows how you sat, every corner whispers back. I didn't break when you walked out, I stayed too calm, I stayed too proud. But now the quiet hits too deep, like pain learning how to breathe. I thought the hurt would fade with time, but it learned my daily life. Everything hurts where you used to be, every space remembers you and me, even joy feels incomplete. chest. It just lingers and never rests. Like a bruise I learned to hide. Under moments I survive. I pass the places we once knew. They feel empty, dressed as new. I smile like I've healed enough, but healing's not the same as love. I don't miss you like before. I miss the life I felt with you. Everything hurts where you used to be. Even laughter sounds too thin. Every dream lost gravity when you weren't there to lean in. I don't scream, I don't fall apart. I just carry the aftershock. Everything hurts where you used to be. Like my heart forgot how not to need. Maybe pain is love with nowhere to go. Maybe letting go is learning it slow. I don't want you back inside my days. I just want the hurting to change its shape. Everything hurts where you used to be, but it's softer than it was before. I can breathe through the memory. I don't collapse on the floor. I survived what I couldn't see. I outgrew the version of me. Everything hurts where you used to be, but I'm still here, and that's healing. Some wounds don't close, they just stop bleeding. I folded my days around your name, like it was something safe to say. You promised nothing, still I hoped. Built a future out of things you never wrote. I learned your moods are quiet signs. Ignore the warning every time. I thought love meant I'd understand, even when you slipped right through my hands. I kept choosing you in every doubt while you were already halfway out. I love you longer than you stayed. Count through nights you'd already escaped. You said forever without a sound, then disappeared while I stayed around. You let go before the pain showed through. I loved the parts you never grew into. I loved you longer than you stayed, and I'm still here learning how to fade. Your absence learned my daily life. Sat at the table, slept at night. I stopped expecting your reply. Still flinched when my phone lit up with light. I love again, just not that way. Not longer than someone decides to stay. Trace the lines where your hand once lay. Every corner whispers of yesterday. The laughter froze before it bloomed. Now empty rooms are all I've assumed. I replay the nights that never came, the words we never said, the unspoken flame. Even the silence held a weight of all the love we couldn't translate. I keep reaching for shadows you left. Every almost tears me to that. What we almost were still hurts. The echoes of us feel the worst. Moments that slip through our hands, promises we didn't understand. I still feel you in every start, in the quiet breaking of my heart. What we almost were still hurts. It leaves me standing in reverse. I walk past places we could have known. Each step reminds me I'm alone. Your smile lingers in fading light. I chase it through the lonely night. Every plan that never came true, every dream I shared with you. Even the stars seem to pretend that some things just don't ever end. I hold the pieces of our might have been, learning how to let go within. What we almost were still hurts. The echoes of us feel the worst. Moments that slip through our hands, promises we didn't understand. I still feel you in every start, in the quiet breaking of my heart. What we almost were still hurts. It leaves me standing in reverse. Maybe time will dull the ache, but some memories never break. I forgive the love we left unsaid, and cradle every tear I've shed. What we almost were still hurts, but I'm learning life can still assign strength in places you couldn't stay, love in ways that won't decay. Even if the past calls my name, I can rise from the hurt and pain. What we almost were still hurts. But I'll live beyond the verse. Let the shadows rest tonight. Carry the almost out of sight. packed your name into every goodbye, like I could fold it small enough to hide. You said you needed space to breathe, but I was still holding what we used to be. The days kept moving, I stayed behind, counting moments you left undefined. You walked away like it was a lie. I stayed to feel every goodbye twice. I let go slower than you did. I stayed when love still lived. You dropped us like a finish line. I reread every sign. You learned how to forget me fast. I learned how to make the feeling last. I let go slower than you did, and it broke me bit by bit. Your laughter doesn't haunt the room. It's worse, it's how it vanished too soon. I talk to silence like it knows the shape of you, the way you'd go. I kept the promises you outgrew, like they still belong to me and you. You called it over clean and clear. I called it love, I stayed right here. I let go slower than you did. I stayed where love still lived. You closed the door without a sound. I searched for reasons all around. You moved on like it didn't last. I lived inside the aftermath. I let go slower than you did, and it broke me bit by bit. Maybe I love deeper, not wrong. Maybe holding on took me too long, but hearts don't heal on even ground. Some fall quiet, some break loud. I let go slower than you did, but I'm still standing this. I carried us when you were gone. I felt the night stretch far too long. You forgot the weight we shared. I learned how heavy love can get. I let go slower than you did, but I survived every step. One day I'll say your name and feel no ache, but tonight I'm still learning how to let go break. Trace the places where you used to stand. Your shadows linger on my trembling hands. We used to speak in quiet, honest tones. Now every word feels like it's made of stone. The space you left keeps growing every night, a quiet ache that never fits quite right. I reach for you across the fading light, but love can't bridge what's lost from sight. And I'm trying not to fall apart, but silence cuts deeper than the dark. You drift away with every passing day, while I'm still learning how to stay. There's a distance between our hearts that I can't cross, no matter how I try. Every step just pulls us further, every truth becomes another lie. I'm reaching out with broken fingers, but the hurt keeps tearing us apart. No matter how close we stand, I can't find you through the distance between our hearts. I replay moments like a fragile song, wondering which note we played wrong. Your laughter used to echo next to mine. Now it feels distant, lost in time. I hold the memories like they're glass, afraid they'll shatter if I breathe too fast. You're here but somehow not the same, a stranger wearing your old name. And I'm still hoping for a sign that there's a way to realign. But love can bloom when hearts retreat, and ours forgot how to meet. There's a distance between our hearts that I can't cross, no matter how I try. Every step just pulls us further, every truth becomes another lie. I'm reaching out with broken fingers, but the hurt keeps tearing us apart. No matter how close we stand, I can't find you through the distance between our hearts. Maybe we lost us somewhere quiet, in the pauses we could never heal. Maybe love isn't gone, just tired, too faint to trust, too torn to feel. If goodbye's the path we're taking, let it be soft, let it be real. But no, I loved you with everything, more than I could ever reveal. Still there's distance between our hearts, a widening space we can't deny. I whisper love into the silence, but it fades before it reaches your side. I'm holding on, though it's breaking, but truth is pulling us apart. I'll let you go with trembling hands and set us free from the distance between our hearts. One day I'll walk without this weight and breathe a world that doesn't ache. But tonight I'm learning how to apart with the distance between our hearts. We used to speak in colors soft and bright. Now every sentence fades into the night. Your eyes once met mine halfway home. Now they wander like they're on their own. I try to reach you, but the air just shakes. Like silence knows the sound we never made. It's the quiet between our words, where all the hurt begins to grow. The things we never said are the ones that echo loudest now. You're standing right beside me, but you feel a world away. In the quiet between our words, we slowly lost our way. Coffee cools between untouched hands. We smile like strangers trying to pretend. I hear the distance in your soft I'm fine. A fading truth buried in your sighs. We keep pretending nothing's out of place, but silence draws a line we cannot trace. It's the quiet between our words, where all the hurt begins to grow. The things we never said are the ones that echo loudest now. You're standing right beside me, but you feel a world away. In the quiet between our words, we slowly lost our way. His love is slipping through the spaces. Tell me how we ever save this. Are we too far to speak the truth, or are we scared of what we'll lose? It's the quiet between our words, the place where we forgot to stay. If only we had spoken, maybe love wouldn't slip away. You're here, but I can't reach you, no matter how I pray. In the quiet between our words, we whispered our last goodbye that day. And another silence is all we have left to say. walked in like a summer breeze, soft and warm you unfolded me. I didn't know what falling meant till you wrote when my heartbeat said. But even in your smile I saw a trace of something holding back you couldn't face. We were almost meant to stay, almost found it forever in the way. Your hand fit perfectly in mine, like stars aligning out of time, but almost isn't close enough to keep a breaking heart in love. We were almost meant to stay, but almost slipped away. Your voice still lingers in my mind, a fading note I can't rewind. We built a world of maybe soon, but promises collapse too soon. I try to hold the pieces of your fear, but you kept walking, even standing here. We were almost meant to stay, almost found it forever in the way. Your hand fit perfectly in mine, like stars aligning out of time, but almost isn't close enough to keep a breaking heart in love. We were almost meant to stay, but almost slipped away. If timing had been kinder, if fate had drawn us tighter, maybe you'd still be with me now, instead of just a dream I can't put down. We were almost meant to stay, almost touched a love that wouldn't fade. I felt you slipping like a tide, no matter how I held the line, but almost couldn't hold us here or keep you leaving from drawing near. We were almost meant to stay, but almost walked away, and I'm left holding everything we almost became. I still remember the way you'd call in quiet moments, no reason at all. You held my heart like something true before the silence started growing through, and I replay the spaces where you slipped, every minute losing one more grip. These are the hours you forgot, the ones where I loved you more than I thought. Every sunrise you let fade, every memory let slip away. empty chairs. Your laughter echoes like unanswered prayers. I trace the moments we almost kept, but promises crumble where your silence left. And I'm holding pieces you left behind, trying not to lose what's left of mine. These are the hours you forgot, the ones where I loved you more than I thought. Every sunrise you let fade, every memory you let slip away. You walked out without a second glance, left me standing in the aftermath. These are the hours you forgot, but they're already gone. Maybe time was never on our side. Maybe love was something you couldn't fight. But I still keep the seconds you let fall, even if you don't remember them at all. These are the hours you forgot, but to me they're the pieces of what we were not. Every heartbeat I tried to save now just echoes through an empty space. You walked out without looking back, left me learning how to fill the cracks. These are the hours you forgot, and they're all I've got. I hold the minutes you left unfinished.